Jai Nitai Gaur Premanand. Jai Saparikar. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari. Shri Shri Radha Govind Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nrsimha Bhagavan Ki Jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mahabhagavad Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gauri Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijayabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivasyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sada Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Swarup Damodar Roy Ramanandadi Gaur Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sivaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gopa Vardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhana Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Kshetra Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsimha Deva Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhu Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Gaur. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakhan Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pridayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Panchatattvaatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My Dandavat Pranams, Shraddha Pushpanjali. At the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Statarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Statarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. My Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So we're reading, yesterday we started reading the Upadeshavali of Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So we're continuing. Yesterday we discussed the first, second, and third of these three instructions. I'm reading them again so we can remember them. Number 1. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Supreme victory to the congregational chanting of Krishna's names. This is the Sri Gaudiya Math's sole object of worship. Number 2, Sri Krishna, who is the Vishaya Vigraha, or the object of the devotee's praying, is the sole enjoyer, and all others are to be enjoyed by him. Number 3, those who don't perform Hari Bhajan are ignorant and murderers of their own souls. Number 4, we read it, but we didn't discuss it yesterday. The acceptance of Sri Harinam and direct realization of Bhagavan are one and the same. So what is this telling? What is this instruction telling?
Shri Harinam is Radha and Krishna.
Yes. But the acceptance of Sri Harinam and direct realization of Bhagavan are one and the same. So it requires us that we accept Harinam. What does it mean to accept Harinam?
Well, it would mean beyond just doing it route by route, really experiencing it when we chant.
But really experiencing it requires a certain mindset, a certain faith, conviction, right? Because there are so many different levels of chanting and so many different levels of chanters. But the actual fact, the actual truth, which is realized by those who are pure Vaishnavas, pure devotees, and who are chanting Shuddhanam, pure name of Krishna. In that stage of chanting, they are fully accepting that Krishna, in the form of his holy name, Harinam, is actually directly Bhagavan himself. So to realize Harinam as Bhagavan is non-different than realizing Bhagavan himself. There is no difference between them. So this direct realization of Bhagavan is a very high thing, is it not? Similarly, direct realization of Sri Harinam and accepting Sri Harinam as Krishna himself is also a very high thing. There are thousands, even millions of people around the world who chant the name of Krishna. They chant the Mahamantra, they chant various other songs composed by the Acharyas that mention various names of Krishna. But their realizations are not all the same. There are many, many different levels of chanting. So this is something that we have to surrender to, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed in the Sikshastakam, verse number 2. What is he told in the verse number 2?
All your mercies and the holy names, but I'm so unfortunate. I commit offenses. So
Use the mic because we have the Facebook thing going on.
all your mercy and Shakti are in the holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction because I commit offenses.
Yes. So Mahaprabhu is teaching us how to pray to Harinam. O my Lord, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Oh my dear Lord, you have innumerable various holy names. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda. Bahuda means many, many. And in each of these names, Nija Sarva Shaktis, you have placed all. Sarva means all. Nija Sarva Shakti means all of your energies. You have placed them in your holy name. Right? Nija Sarva Shaktis. Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha. You have also made it very easy thing for persons to chant your holy names because you have not placed any restrictions on who can chant, on what time to chant, on all these different rules and regulations. You have not placed any niyama. Niyama means regulations. Tatrarpita niyamita. Smarane nakalaha. No restrictions according to time or anything. Then he says, Eta drishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi. Here now he's addressing the Lord, Bhagavan. Bhagavan mamapi. Eta drishi means approaching you. Eta drishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi. O Bhagavan, you have made it by your mercy, tava kripa, you have made it because you're so merciful, you've made it very easy to approach you through your holy names. But I am lacking. You've done everything from your side. But from my side, I'm lacking. Durudaivam idrishamihajani. Durudaivam means I'm unfortunate. Durudaivam. I'm unfortunate. Durudaivam idrisham ihajani na nuragaha. I don't have anurag. Na anurag. I don't have anurag. So, Anurag means attachment. I don't have attachment for your holy names. So this lamentation is actually the key to beginning on the pathway of Shuddha Bhakti, of Shuddha Nam Bhajan. This is the key. Lamentation. That I'm so fallen, I'm so unfortunate. But you, my Lord, you're so merciful. You've made it easy to approach you through your holy name. You've made that arrangement. But I'm unfortunate. No one else can be blamed, only me. In this way, weeping and weeping, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself chanted this shloka. Nartam, no. Don't, if you're eating, don't come. You should be there. What did I just say?
No.
Lamentation and saying,
yes.
The Lord is giving, but lamenting that we're not taking.
Yes. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I remember reading it, but I can't quite remember where. But it was in regards to the second shloka. He himself was reciting the second shloka of Sikshastakam and weeping toward the end of his life. So, yes. So now, number 5 of the Upadeshavali. Those who equate the demigods with Vishnu are unable to serve Bhagavan. So what is being told here?
Krishna was it from, I forget how it's stated. I forget how it's stated in the Bhagavana, but Krishna is
I don't think you have it on.
Sri Hari is the only supreme Godhead. And
Yes.
to equate demigods with the Supreme Lord is an offense.
Yeah. It's one of the 10 offenses against the holy names. So we see that there are many persons who have this misconception regarding the various demigods that are mentioned in the Vedic literatures. And they don't understand. There's vast numbers of them, especially in the Hindu religion. They have not been properly instructed as to the tattva of Bhagavan and the difference between Bhagavan and the jiva, and that the jivas are demigods. The demigods are not Bhagavan. The demigods are jivas. So let's discuss this a little bit. Rajeshwari, what is the difference between the jiva and Bhagavan?
The jiva is longing for the prem of Bhagavan. It's not the Bhagavan. It's longing.
But what is the position of Bhagavan in comparison with the jiva? They each have a different position.
Bhagavan is the Supreme Lord.
Yes. And the jiva is?
Seeking Lord.
Okay, true. But is the jiva in a different category than the Supreme Lord?
Oh, yeah.
What is the category of the jiva? This is called jiva tattva. I'm bringing this up so that this can be clarified. Well, but what about all the other living entities?
No, devotees too.
Yeah, but
Krishna's way.
Krishna's suitable way.
But you can't make a statement like that in relation to this kind of question. So the jivas are vibhinamsha. Vibhinamsha means that they are separated parts of Bhagavan. Separated. Eternally separate. Their tattva is that they can never become Bhagavan. In quality, just like a drop of water is qualitatively the same as the whole ocean. But quantitatively, no comparison. So the jivas who can actually, within this universe, they can hold many different positions. They can be in the body of an insect, or in the body of dogs and animals, or in the human bodies. They can even go to the heavenly planets and occupy a post there of being a demigod who controls various forces of nature. There are 33 million varieties of demigods in the upper planets of our universe. So the jivas, like you and me, eternal, separated parts and parcels from Krishna, they can hold very high material positions, or they can be down in the lowest regions. Whereas Bhagavan is never touched. Never touched. He's always eternally supreme. And he's not even touched by the material nature, actually. He's completely transcendental to the material nature. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Govinda Radha Vinod Bihari Jiva Ki Jai. Yes. So, persons who do not understand properly Bhagavat Tattva and Jiva Tattva, they become confused, and some of them hearing or reading different parts of certain Vedic texts where Lord Shiva, for example, is glorified as being all-powerful and supreme, or other demigods, Surya, Indra, Brahma, so many. But these are only posts. Just like in our government, we have president, vice president, and cabinet members, and various posts. Those posts are temporary. So in the same way, in the government of the universe, there are many, many different departments, and there are also heads of those departments. So jivas, who have a very pious background, they are elevated to such positions, but only temporarily. Even if they can remain in such a post for 1,000,000 years or whatever, it's still temporary. It's still temporary, you see. So the thing is that people that do not have proper conception of Bhagavan, they can make such a mistake. But actually there's only one Supreme Being, and he can manifest in innumerable forms, but that's only the one supreme singular personality of Godhead, who may manifest different forms and so forth. But he's the one supreme. There's no one equal to him, no one greater than him. Everyone is in a lower position than him. And in our universe, Vishnu holds that post. Not Brahma, not Shiva. They are not on equal levels whatsoever. And if anyone reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, they will understand this. Because there are pastimes where Lord Brahma tried to steal Krishna's calves and his cowherd boys. You ever heard that? And what happened in the end? In the end, he realized that his power is absolutely nil, practically, in comparison with Krishna's power, just as a little cowherd boy. Same with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was defeated by Krishna. See? But these are devotees, and Krishna sometimes uses his devotees for his pastimes. But if someone is thinking those who equate the demigods with Vishnu, they're unable to serve Bhagavan. They're unable to serve. They're unable to become devotees of Bhagavan, you see. So they're unable to perform bhakti seva because they have a misconception about who is to be served. You know, there must be the bhakta, the devotee. There must be the process of devotion, bhakti, and there must be Bhagavan. These three must be there. So if someone is equating Lord Vishnu, who is Bhagavan, with the demigods, then that means that their ability to perform bhakti will be cancelled. They cannot, because they don't have a proper conception. If you're becoming a devotee of Krishna or Vishnu or any one of his incarnations, you have to understand Bhagavat Tattva, the truth of the ontological position of Bhagavan. And the Sambandha Gyan, you have to understand what is your relationship with Bhagavan. This has to be understood. So, number 6, establishing a printing press to print devotional books and preaching by organizing Nam Hatta programs. This constitutes genuine service to Sri Mayapur. Now he's talking about Sri Mayapur. What is Sri Mayapur? You know, Visheshwari?
I know where it is, and I know that's where Chaitanya was born.
Well, now you know. You said everything. Sri Mayapur is the transcendental birthplace of Sri Krishna in his form as Lord Chaitanya. He appeared there 530 something years ago. So that Mayapur Dham is called the Dham. You know why it's called the Dham? What does Dham mean? Yes. Dham means where the Supreme Lord himself resides. His holy abode. We know that he has his own planet in the spiritual sky, and all of his expansions of Vishnu forms, they also have planets in the spiritual sky. But his planet is the topmost, Goloka Vrindavan. And we know that in the middle of the whorl of the lotus flower-shaped planet of Goloka, there are 2 sections. In the middle of the whorl is one section called Braj. Just like here on this planet, we have Braj Mandala Parikrama. We go there to these holy places. That's the playground of the Supreme Lord that descended, because the Dham is actually non-different than the Lord himself. It's not a material place with material, land and water and all of that. The Dham descends down onto the material plane without actually being part of the material world. It's the transcendental world. And that is the abode where the Lord eternally resides. Even now, on this material plane, so-called, if we go there, Yamuna River is there, Govardhan Hill is there, the whole 12 forests of Braj are there. But we have to have the eyes to see them. Those who have the eyes, like the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami and so forth, they saw the transcendental vision. They saw the pastimes taking place there. They were sent there by Lord Chaitanya to reveal the actual locations everywhere. Where was the rasa dance performed? Where did Krishna open up his mouth and show Mother Yashoda the universe, etc.? All the pastimes. Where did Krishna lift Govardhan Hill? So we know that because Mahaprabhu sent the Goswamis there and empowered them, and they revealed all these places that had been forgotten over thousands of years. And he again revealed Vrindavan Dham. Same with Navadvip Dham. Navadvip is the same. Navadvip is the other side. In Goloka Vrindavan, in the whorl of the lotus, the Navadvip is called Svetadvip in the spiritual world. So on one side is Lord Chaitanya and his form and his pastimes and Harinam Sankirtan being performed eternally there. He has his eightfold daily pastimes in his Gauranga form. And on the other side of that Braj is the Radha and Krishna pastimes in Vrindavan. So when Krishna descends, that eternal Dham descends with him, and his associates also. They manifest here. And when the Lord comes in the form combined with Srimati Radharani, then the Navadvip Dham side descends here. And they are identical abodes. This is one thing that has to be understood. They are identical abodes. Because why? Because in the spiritual world, they're in the same place. But there's two different moods. Two different moods are there. So we are very lucky because we live on this planet where both of those Dhams descended 500 years ago and 5,000 years ago. So when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was beginning his preaching mission, and he was also ordered by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who was his guru and his father, to serve Sri Mayapur Dham, to serve this Dham, because the Dham is Krishna. So any service to the Dham is service to Krishna, right? So at that time, very few people knew. It had been forgotten over a few hundred years. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, rediscovered the actual birthplace. Because, you know, the Ganga gets overflooded periodically, and it changes and shifts its course, you see. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur did this great, incredible contribution to all future generations of Vaishnavas by revealing the actual place, the actual physical location where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. That's why we can go there. You went there? Yes, that's why we can go underneath the neem tree, and there's this little cottage as a memorial where Mother Sachi Devi is holding baby Nimai in her lap, and Jagannath Mishra is next to her. Because that was arranged for the whole world to come to Mayapur Dham. And also Lord Nityananda has predicted that in the future, the whole world will consider Mayapur to be the center and the capital of the entire world. It will become more and more prominent in course of time. And that's why our Srila Prabhupada in 1976, around that time, he gave the great plan to build the huge temple that will mark Mayapur Dham as the capital of the whole world. Prabhupada also predicted that in the future, people would not have to fly from other parts of the world to Calcutta and then come from Calcutta. He said, no, there will be an international airport somewhere in that region. Yes, yes. And he said it will be big enough to land jumbo jets. Yes. So the beginning of that service of revealing the Dham was happening while Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was here with us on the planet. That Gaudiya Mat, the establishment of Gaudiya Mat, was to broadcast the message of Lord Chaitanya throughout India and throughout the whole world. So therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established what he named like a mridanga drum. If you bang it really loud, you can hear it from some distance, right? If we're standing outside, you can hear it, maybe down by the creek even. maybe. But the printing press, that can be heard all throughout the entire world, the printing press. Why? Because these books that are printed are directly the message of Lord Chaitanya, and therefore all of our acharyas have written these various books to broadcast. And in this era of Kali Yuga, the technology became available for the last few hundred years of what is called the printing press, right? When was it? Like maybe 400 years ago or something. They invented the printing press, right? So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, what is the real service to this Mayapur, right? To Mayapur. How can we really, really do genuine service to Mayapur? He said, establishing a printing press to print devotional books. And preaching by organizing Nam Hatha programs. This constitutes genuine service to Sri Mayapur. So, what is Nam Hatha? I want to just tell about this briefly. You probably haven't heard about this before. Now, the word Hatha means marketplace. In Bengal, they call it a Hatha, marketplace, where the people come and sell vegetables and fruits and all that, called a Hatha. So, Nam Hatha means what? Can you figure that out?
Marketplace.
Yes, the marketplace, which is making the holy name of Krishna available. Actually, Nityananda Prabhu, in the island of Godrumadweep, he opened up this marketplace for distribution of the holy names. Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a whole beautiful song about that. And so, also Bhaktivinoda Thakur established a system of preaching, an organized system, which was called Namahatha preaching. In other words, what it meant, and even to this day we use that term. Like, for example, we're living up here in Badger. So if we go down the hill into Fresno or Visalia or one of these cities and we start to preach, and we start to distribute books and so forth, and some persons take interest, and then we establish connections with them, relationships with them, and then they start to come up here and visit, and like this. And then at one point they may want to invite, oh, I want your devotees to come down and to do a program in my house, or like that, or my friend's house, or my relative's house, or something like that. So to broadcast the message through home programs is called Namahatha preaching. Yes, and eventually what happens from that is 2 more stages. The second stage is called a, what's it called? Kendra. First is a Namahatha, and a Kendra, actually Devamai called her place a Kendra. It can be called that. You know, her house, she named it a Kendra. Vishuddha Chaitanya Vani Kendra or something like that for Srila Bharati Maharaj when I was staying there a couple of years ago. So she liked it to be a center, because a Kendra means an actual center, which is now being run and operated by the devotees specifically for the purpose of preaching. It's not a private residence necessarily, okay? A private residence means that, you know, you are inviting people to your home for programs. So that's called Namahatha. But when the devotees combinedly say, no, we should have a center where we can visit regularly, we can have regular programs every day, twice a day, this or that, you know, then that's called a Kendra. So in Western language, Prabhupada used to use the term center. Sometimes he would even call it a temple. Open temples, open centers, like this, all over the world. You know. So, but when that Kendra, that preaching center, becomes well established, that there's a very significant congregation, and the members are all cooperating together, and they now want to establish a permanent place, which will also be owned by the devotees, not just rented, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that when deities are installed, like we have here, then it can be called a mandir. You know the term mandir? Means what?
Temple.
Yeah, it means temple. It means a temple. Mandir. In Indian language, a mandir means a temple. So those are the three stages, see? So what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling is that, oh, this is real service to Mayapur Dham, is to print devotional literatures, distribute them, and to do Nama Hatha preaching, you see. Yeah.
What's a kutir?
Kutir is just a small little hut. A kutir means a little hut. In the West, we can call it a room or something. It means just a place where you live, but it's just a tiny little thing, you know.
It's not.
Like you have an actual kutir on wheels.
I call it my bhajan kutir.
Yes, that's what it is. It's your bhajan kutir on wheels. You see? Now, Vaikanas Maharaj, who is staying here, he's got a very nice kutir on wheels that Radhakanta helped to raise funds on GoFundMe, and I'll have to call him soon and ask him, how's it going? You know, because he wanted to travel the whole country. So.
He's coming here in June. Maybe before. But he's coming.
Yeah, we'll see.
Who is this?
Vaikanas Maharaj. Were you here? He was another sannyasi like me who was staying in the other room there.
I only was here when.
He was here for like a week from when she got here.
He was what?
He was only here a week after she got here.
Oh, so he was still here when she got here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, he's my godbrother. Yeah. So he established a temple, an actual mandir, even built a mandir in South India. He was there for like 15 years. And but you know, Braj and I were old buddies with our Vaikanas Maharaj, and you know, and so many. They used to travel together when they were young in a van, distributing books. You see, so Prabhupada, he did this. Prabhupada, when he came to the West, his spiritual master wanted this done, and he did that. He printed hundreds of millions of books and had a force of devotees distributing them all over the world in all different languages, you know. No small little effort there. Tremendous effort. So that's one of the Upadeshavalis of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati.
Did you hear the story about what happened in South Carolina?
Please tell us.
Because devotees were everywhere. Airports.
Mike.
Devotees were everywhere. We were at airports, we were in shopping centers.
Yeah.
Wherever you went, you'd run into a devotee.
I remember. I was there.
And we were traveling in South Carolina, and all of a sudden there was a freak snowstorm, which is not something that normally happens.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Okay.
So they were completely caught off guard. Traffic was stopped for days. And, you know, we didn't mind. We had our prasadam and we bathed in the snow. And,
bathed in the snow.
And this and that. But one day we decided, let's go out and do Harinam.
Yeah.
So we went out and Jai Sachinanda was playing.
In the snow? Was it snowing?
It wasn't still snowing, but there was snow on the ground. Yeah. And I was the one who went up to the cars with the back to Godheads. And I knock on the window and the guy looks up and he says, "You're here too?"
Exactly.
Well, I remember from the New York temple, they had a weekend Sankirtan group that would go out and distribute the incense, his lotus feet incense. Right? They had this shipment from India they had to get rid of because it wasn't the best quality. And then and we went to the drive-in theaters. And we had a carload of devotees, maybe 5-6 devotees. And we had a system, because in those days that was a very popular thing. There's so many drive-in theaters around the New York area, So we would get out of the car. It would be like, after 9 or 10 o'clock at night, we would stay up late to do that. And the devotees would say, okay, I'm taking the first row, because they had a row. And you take the second, you take the third. And then when you get to the sixth one, then you walk down 6 and do that. So literally within a half an hour, we would have the whole place covered, right? And we had gone to every single car, and that was a weird experience, because in drive-in theaters, the devotees, the people, they're doing all kinds of things inside of their cars, and like, we're knocking on the window, and like, they roll it down, like, what? And we give them incense and try to give them a magazine or a book or something, but we knew that we would only last so long, right? So we tried to do this as quickly as possible, and sure enough, within 15 minutes, somebody had complained. The managers were looking for us, and then we made it back to our car and came out of the exit. And then even there was a case when they chased after us with the car. So we would do these kind of extreme things, which by ordinary standards, a little bit, unusual to say the least. Yeah.
We did the movie once, The Exorcist.
Yeah, so did we. It was that same year.
And
my God.
I knocked on the window, and the lady looks up and goes, ah! Throughout the whole, and we all had to run back to the step.
Oh,
It
God.
was like an old-time movie trying to get out of the...
Anyway, there should be a set of volumes of all the Sankirtan stories from the devotees, I tell you. So
From the
amazing.
60s and 70s.
Yes. Okay. Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai, Shri Upadeshavali ki jai, Gautananandi. Pancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sandubhe Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi